Vedanta Bhakti Vedanta Maharaj Rupaki Guru Vaishnava Vrinda Jai Ramacharya Thakur Ki Jai Prem Jagara Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasubhura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kanivaram Ki Jai Vrindavan Ki Jai Mathuradam Ki Jai Ravitam Ki Jai Gangomai Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Tarasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samamita Bhaktandi Ki Jai Rhoda Pramanandi. All glories to the Samaritantes. All glories to the Samaritantes. All glories to the Samaritantes. So, translation department is organized. Yeah? Where was this? Okay. Okay, so I just stop. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanahani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurumani Pachari Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Vishatarine. So we continue with the Transcendental Diary. Srila Prabhupada is at the moment still in Vrindavan down. When Alanath, a European devotee, told him of plans to publish a magazine in Sweden with articles challenging the material scientists, Prabhupada warned him, don't write anything nonsense. It must be very solid, otherwise you'll be laughing stock. One must be confident because challenging others... One must be confident before challenging others. In all stages, he must be able to defend himself from the opposing elements. Then such challenge is all right. We are confident that the soul cannot be manufactured by any material combination. Therefore, we can challenge and we can defend ourselves in any stage. In class, Prabhupada continued to speak on the same topic. He said that modern civilization means to increase the killing. By scientific advancement, modern man has become expert in killing the less fortunate. Chickens, cows, babies, and even their own souls. The government is advertising 1, 2, 3 bars, advising people to restrict the size of their families to a maximum of 3 by contraception or abortion. But those who have no control of their senses misuse their lives and everything else. But those who have no control of their senses misuse their lives and everyone else's. Prabhupada explained how such people cannot imagine a life without sense gratification, wanting to eat, sleep, and have sex almost unlimitedly. He recalled how, in the early days of ISKCON in New York, his neighbors would protest at the morning chanting. In the beginning, in that 2nd Avenue 26, when our morning prayers were going on at 7, not very early, and so many other tenants, half naked, would complain to the landlord, Mr. Judah, what is this going on? What is going on? Stop it, stop it, stop! So Mr. Judah used to say, no, they'll not stop. I cannot say, you go to the police. So sometimes police were coming to stop us, but we did not stop. This brought a laugh to the assembled devotees. Srila Prabhupada went on, so ajitatmanaha, the human life was meant for gaining victory over the senses. No, better be victimized by the senses. This is modern civilization. He wanted He warned of the danger of becoming too attached to family life, which the Vedas compare to a dark well. He told us that in Vedic civilization it was compulsory that at age 50 one must give it up. Otherwise one becomes the Atma Gatam, the killer of the soul. There are an increasing number of householders and women with children staying at our ashram now, and many seem to have come here to settle. Living in Vrindavan and raising one's children here is certainly very appealing for any devotee, but Prabhupada warned us that we must be very careful how to conduct our activities in the holy Dham. So those who do not observe these rules and regulations, they are called ajitatmana, victimized by the senses. Their business is to sleep as much as possible. They are passing their days without any benefit, nishpalam, without any result. If one is not serious about the value of this human form of life, he must waste his time by sleeping. But no, if we follow our predecessors, our Goswamis, who were all ministers, they came to Vrindavan to practice what? Nidahara viharakadi vidito, to conquer oversleeping, eating and mating. And coming to Vrindavan, if we indulge in that way, then what is the use of coming to Vrindavan? Go to hell and live there. Yeah. So Bhagavan is giving the example here. No, this is Vrindavan is the place of the Goswami, of renunciation actually. Nowadays, devotees go there to get married in Vrindavan. But at the time of the Goswamis, as Prabhupada mentions here, and it was a different mood. And also he's Prabhupada said something that caught my attention here of the subject that we were talking the other day. Alanath, he became Paramadvaiti later on. He told him about plants, a magazine in Swedish, challenge the materialist scientists, and Prabhupada is saying what? Somebody remembers? Well, Prabhupada gave us an answer.
Said, don't be foolish, don't be too foolish.
Be very careful, be very careful. And that's why I mentioned the other day, when Prabhupada formed the BI, the Bhaktivedanta Institute, we were all informed that when we contact scientists, we shouldn't preach to them. Well, we should put these people in contact with the BI, the Bhaktivedanta Institute. Why is this? Because when you talk or you preach to scientists, then and if you don't have a title, you're not properly educated to their standard, then they don't take you serious at all. Very important point. Anyway, so Prabhupada is very stern here, very, very direct. Go to live somewhere else. If you want to go to Vrindavan and continue with their sanskritification, don't come to Vrindavan. Prabhupada says here, if we indulge in that way, then what is the use of coming to Vrindavan? Go to hell and live there. Any comments, any questions? Ja?
Vorher war den Zusammenhang habe ich vielleicht nicht ganz mitbekommen, in der Killer of the Soul wurde da erwähnt, was das bedeutet in dem Zusammenhang.
Ja, dass die Seele ihrer natürlichen, Natur entsagt, dass sie nicht die Möglichkeit gegeben wird, auf der spirituellen Ebene zu handeln und Selbstverwirklichung zu erlangen. Und deshalb sind die modernen sogenannten Zivilisationen Soul-Killing Civilizations. It's not that you destroy the soul, but you don't give it the you don't take the advantage of reviving the soul's consciousness, the soul's actually interest. And that Baba calls killing the soul.
Is this Atma?
Hmm?
What is meant here? Atma?
What do you think?
I ask.
Ja. So, kann ich mal den Apparat haben? Entschuldigt, ich muss immer den Apparat benutzen, weil meine Augen sind nicht so gut. Und normalerweise sind die Buchstaben in den Büchern mir zu klein.
Ich habe jetzt Englisch eingestellt, weil die meisten Englisch sprechen.
Englisch, ja? Jaya Jaya Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda Haben wir schon dreimal? Nee. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda. So I'm not sure if we have ever already read this, but this morning I looked at it and I found it very, very interesting, this particular verse and its purport that Prabhupada gave. So we're reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, first chapter. What is the chapter again?
The later pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay, so we're reading the 194th verse. Sabe ekadoshatara haya papachara Paparasi deha nama base tomara Saba ekadoshatara haya papachara Paparasi deha nama base tomara Shatara haya papachara Paparasi deha namapase tomara Sava ekadoshatara haya papachara Paparasi dahi nama base tomara. Tidam, ladies.
Save kadoshatara haya papachara.
Save kadoshatara haya papachara. Paparasi deha nama base tomara. Sabe, in all, Eka, one only, Dosha, fault, Tara, of them, Haya, they are, Papachara, attached to sinful activities, Paparashi, volumes of sinful activities, Dahe, becoming burned, Nama Abhase, simply by the dim reflection of chanting the holy name. Tomara, of your Lordship. Translation of the verse. Jagai and Madai had but one fault. They were addicted to sinful activity. However, volumes of sinful activity can be burned to ashes simply by a dim reflection of the chanting of your holy name. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami presented themselves as being lower than the two brothers Jagai and Madai, who were delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Rupa and Sanatana compared themselves to Jagai and Madai, they found themselves inferior, because the Lord had no trouble in delivering two drunken brothers. This was so because the fact that they were addicted to sinful activity, in other ways their life was brilliant. They belonged to a Brahmana caste of Navadvip, and such Brahmanas were pious by nature. Although they had been addicted to some sinful activities due to bad association, those unwanted things could vanish simply because of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Another point for Jagai and Madai was that as members of the Brahmana family, they did not accept service under anyone. The Shastra strictly forbid a Brahmana to accept service under anyone. The idea is that by accepting a master, one accepts the occupation of a dog. In other words, a dog cannot thrive without having a master. And for the sake of pleasing the master, dogs offend many people. They bark at innocent people just to please the master. Similarly, when one is a servant, he has to perform abominable activities according to the orders of a master. Therefore, when Dabi Kas and Sakara Malik compared their position to that of Jagai and Madai, they found Jagai and Madai's position far better. Jagai and Madai never accepted the position of serving a low-class person, nor were they forced to execute abominable activities under the order of a low-class master. Jagai and Madai chanted the name of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by way of blasphemy, but because they simply chanted his name, they immediately became free from the reactions of sinful activities. Thus later they were saved. So we repeat the verse again. Sabe kadosha tarahaya papachara paparashina hinamava seitomara. Jagai and Madai had but one fault. They were addicted to sinful activities. However, volumes of sinful activity can be burned to ashes simply by a dim reflection of the chanting of your holy name. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Manifestam Savitam Yena Bhutani Swayam Rupam Kadaya Adantikam. So, we continue here, with a meeting of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's mentioned here that they were, they had, further, before we heard about, how they had been degraded, even though they had been born in very aristocratic Brahminical families. And Prabhupada mentions here in the purport that normally Brahmanas, they abstain from sinful activities, pious people. It's not just because you're born in a so-called Brahmana family that you automatically become a Brahmana. That's actually not the proper understanding. Like I mentioned the other day also, it's a question of guna karma. Independent of your janma, of your birth, you also have to have certain qualities to belong to one class, like the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, while the Shudras, not so much. No, actually, it says that the Brahmanas go through the 4 ashrams: Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. And then the Kshatriyas only go through 3. They only go to Vanaprasthas. The Vaishyas, they go through Brahmachari, Grihastha. First educated, then they become Grihasthas, proper Grihasthas, not Grihamedis, but Grihasthas. On the basis of their proper education, therefore, their preparation. And for the Shudras, only exists the Grihastha ashram. That's kind of pious activity to get married. Saves you from all kinds of weird things and I say, sinful activities like that. Anyway, so the Brahmanas are also described as the head of the social body. Srila Prabhupada used to say that sometimes we have problems with our, legs or arms or whatever. Maybe we have lost a leg or 2 legs even in the war or something like that. Or we have lost some hand or some arm like that. And we have problems in digestion. When in this way, sometimes people go to hospital and they get their nourishment by from the bottle, like I tell you in English, anyway, artificially nourished. But if the brain doesn't work properly, then everything else is useless. So the most important part in society, most important class in society, are the Brahmins. And even more important than the Brahmanas are the Vaishnava Brahmanas. Brahmana actually refers to a person who understands Brahman, who understands what is spiritual. Anyway. And and those who have actually come to the point of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what to say, pure devotional service, without any motivation, they considered even more important than the Brahmins. In former times, the Brahmanas were very important, not only for educating children like that or something, guiding, but also as how you say, Ratgeber, what is that in English? As advisors. Just like it says in the Bhagavatam, it says that when Parikshit Maharaj was traveling, he was a king. And he used to travel a lot and see that everything was going properly. That everyone was properly situated according to his guna karma. But then also it says, he was accompanied by first-class Brahmanas who would give him advice. He didn't start speculating or like that, but he was listening to the Brahmins. This was the function of the Brahmanas. Prabhupada quoted a lot of Chanakya Pandit. Chanakya, I have a book, the slokas of Chanakya Pandit. I don't know who published that. I think it was Satsvaruma or something. Anyway, so Chanakya. Chanakya was a very important, Chanakya Pandit was a very important, very powerful Brahmana. It says that at the time when the Greek people entered into India, conquered India, part of India, he was the advisor of the king. And under the instruction of the Chanakya Pandit, the king became very powerful. And he threw them out of India, northern India. And it's interesting, the relation that the king had. What was the name of the king again? I remember. Actually, famous king. And so Chanakya Pandit had a very special relationship with that king also. He never went into the palace. To become confused by the opulence like that was there, but he stayed outside the palace, and he had a little hut where he was living. And when the king needed advice, he came out on foot, to see his advisor. And Prabhupada mentioned that he was not discussing anything with the king. The king would ask questions, and Chanakya would just give him advice. And only once. There was no discussion, as I mentioned before. Anyway, so Chanakya Pandit, what was his mode? He was completely fixed in the mode of goodness. He's a qualified Brahmana. Just like it says in the Bhagavad Gita. Samodama tavat saucham ksantira atamalevacha gyanam vijnanam astikam brahma karma svabhavacham. Brahma karma svabhavacham means, these are the qualities of a Brahmana. And these are, how many are there? 8 or 9, something like that. Shamo. Shamo means a Brahmana is very peaceful. And how come he was so peaceful? They were so peaceful. Shamo Dhamma. Because they were able to control their senses. They were not under the control of their senses. Shamo Dhamma Tapa. They were austere. Austerity is also a symptom of advancement in knowledge, in spiritual life. Once you develop your spiritual creeper, like it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Niviti. This is described. This is the advancement in spiritual life. Everything starts with faith. And I just heard a conversation with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, Shraddha, Ado Shraddha. Shraddha develops by studying. And Prabhupada said that's why it's so important that we distribute this knowledge everywhere. People are ignorant. They don't know what the real meaning of life is. They don't know anything about their real identity, their real interest. What to speak of God. So Srila Prabhupada said, by hearing or by reading, one develops Shraddha, Ado Shraddha. And as soon as there's some faith developing, some conviction developing, naturally you want to associate. You want to see how to put this into practice, or associate with people who are living this philosophy, so to say. Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha. Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya means you are initiated by a spiritual master. You get the seed of devotional service from a spiritual master. Bhajana Kriya. And then Anartha Niviti. You follow the instruction of the spiritual master. You execute your devotional service based on the Shastra, Guru Sadhu Shastra. And then actually Anartha Niviti. Anartha Niviti means you lose interest in everything that is not connected with devotional service. Like that. And in this way, gradually you develop suchi, you develop taste in everything related with devotional service. Getting up in the morning, then attending Mangal Arati, like Prabhupada gave us the whole process. As long as one is kind of, feeling that, I have to go now, I rather like to continue in bed, kind of. There's no taste. So when there's some taste, naturally, as a result, like it says in the Bhagavatam also, when one worships Vasudeva, one is blessed with detachment, how you say, ensago, ensago, detachment, and one becomes very intelligent, knowledge. Krishna is giving real intelligence, spiritual intelligence, which is very important. Prabhupada says that intelligence is characterized, how is it characterized? Characterized by a very good discrimination, to have good discrimination. How is discrimination? Knowing what is important, what is not important, what to do, how to act properly, like that. And Prabhupada also said, another symptom of intelligence is good remembrance. How say? Remember. Memory. Good remembrance. And Prabhupada often mentioned that in former times, the brahmacharis or the students, and they would be have such a good remembrance, such a good intelligence. They would not read books. Now we have to have books, like Srila Vyasadeva formed all these books for us, Bhagavatam and everything else. Former times people would just hear. They would just hear. And they hear it only once and they would not forget. This is one of the qualities of Kali Yuga, or Kali Yugeros, Kali Yuga inhabitants. That they you have to hear it again and again and again and never stays. Yes. Just like I mentioned the other day, I was in class, Sunday feast, I mentioned that. That Arjuna heard the Bhagavad Gita like in less than an hour, and he understood, and he was completely, realized at the point when he had heard the Bhagavad Gita for 1 hour. We hear Bhagavad Gita every day. And still we're not fixed. Yeah. And Prabhupada mentioned that as to describe the extraordinary qualities of Arjuna. No, he was not just a kshatriya, the powerful, krieger, what is that? Yeah, kshatriya, warrior. No, but he was very, very intelligent. So he heard all this, in the end he heard, Sarvadamam Padijatam Mamikam Satanam Aham Tuam Sarva Pavayu Mokshayishai Mamasucha. When Krishna says, now give up all your duties, all your dharmas, all your duties born or based on Shastra. Give them all up and just surrender. Do what I am telling you to do. And then Krishna even mentioned na sucha. Don't fear. Because you get an instruction like that, direct instruction, and you automatically start having your doubts. Well, what? I have to give up everything. What happens to my whatever? All my responsibilities? No. But then Krishna says, don't fear. I protect you. I absorb everything. I liberate you. I take the responsibility for your duties, or whatever you have. And this is very interesting. Anyway, coming back to the point here. The Brahmins are very important members in society. Sometimes Prabhupada used to say that this movement was actually also to create Brahmins. And like I mentioned, not just Brahmins, but Vaishnava Brahmins, who educated people. Our movement is an educational institution. It's not just I remember Prabhupada once said, these temples are not for the lazies and not for the crazies. Not for the lazies and not for the crazies. I was just talking to someone the other day about that phenomenon. So anyway, this is an educational institution. We want people to come and hear. We don't speculate, we don't invent things, but everything that we say, everything that we teach should be based on Shastra. That's why we have to, the way Prabhupada taught us how to preach is, always quote Shastra. Everything you say, you should base on Shastra. Otherwise, it doesn't have a solid base. Srila Prabhupada taught us it. It's amazing how Prabhupada was always quoting Shastra. And I remember I heard that in the end, when Prabhupada was almost already given up his body, when he was, there was Jayadvaita Maharaj holding the microphone, and what is that? Prabhupada's Pandit. He used to call him as Pandit. Anyway, and Prabhupada was giving the purpose. Pradyumna. Pradyumna read the Sanskrit for Prabhupada, and Advaita Maharaj held the microphone. And Prabhupada, hearing the verse, he gave his purpose. And it's amazing how Prabhupada continued in that condition quoting Shastra. It's incredible how much Shastra Prabhupada was able to quote, how much he knew. He was sometimes, I remember there was a discussion once, many years back, after Prabhupada had left, and some devotees were saying, Prabhupada Prabhupada was avatar, and not avatar, avatar. That means Shakti Avisha avatar. And there was another group of devotees who were saying, better not to say that, because if we make Prabhupada an avatar, then everyone can say that, well, he could only do that, we cannot do this. But rather we should accept Srila Prabhupada as our Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, and follow his instructions very carefully, and follow his example, follow in his steps, as Prabhupada has shown us. And Prabhupada used to say that, just do as I'm doing. Follow in my follow in my footprints. Prabhupada was hoping that his followers would do that. That's why Prabhupada sometimes Prabhupada accepted some conditions or some conditions, not because it was necessary for him, but in order to teach. Like in Bhagavad Gita says, whatever great man does, common men will follow. And that's also one of the responsibilities that every one of us has. We should also do the same thing, give an example. That's why, lately I haven't done that, but have corrected things here. And I often spoke about the thing that we have to be exemplary for these people who come to the temple. They hear something weird, they see something weird, which is not properly based on the Shastra, on the teaching that Prabhupada gave us. They follow this. They take it as an example. That's why we have to be exemplary. We have to be at Mangal Arti. We have, like Prabhupada says, that he wrote me a letter once, when I had opened a temple here in South Germany, and our GVC told me, tell Prabhupada what you did. And then I got the answer from Srila Prabhupada. And he said, now you're one of our leaders. That means you have to be exemplary. You have to be at Mangal Arti, you have to follow the principles properly, you have to go out on Sankirtan with devotees. At that time there was no Sankirtan like nowadays, but our Sankirtan was Harinam. A group was chanting, another group was distributing books. And I remember, the Prabhupada sent me this letter, and I was strictly following this, given an example. I remember, when we went out, I used to come back a little earlier. And before I left the temple, I always had made a list of things to be done. And there were a lot of things to be done. And then normally when I went out in Sankirtan with devotees, I came back, I saw the list, and I crossed off many of these things. Why? Because Sankirtan is very purifying. And you see things, see things properly. You know what's really important, what's not that important. What are the priorities? And the priorities, Prabhupada is always pushing that we should go out and preach. Go out, make ourselves known. So people got to know Hare Krishna. Even though many people laughed at us, especially because we were chanting, we were dressing in devotional clothes. But we had a very important mission. Prabhupada wanted this mission to be known, mission to be known all over the world. So that's why we are supposed to follow in this line. Paul was, most of all, Paul was a preacher. He was not a Babaji. He would not lead a retired life somewhere and highly honored by a limited group somewhere. No, the villagers or something. No, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gave this direct order to Srila Prabhupada to go to the West and preach in English. And because English had become actually the international language. It comes from a time when the British Empire was very, very important, actually powerful, more powerful than anything else. They had colonies all over the world. English became the international language like that. And that's also why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wanted his disciples to go to London, to Europe. But most of all, and it's actually mentioned in his biography of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Interesting point. It says there that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati personally wanted to go to London. And he gave an order to one of his disciples to write a book about the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because actually this disciple was a professor, a very, very educated person. So he was preparing that book, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati actually wanted to go to London. But in due course of time, Prabhupada's time came. This had shifted. England had become much less important. And Prabhupada saw that America was the leader of the world, was the most powerful land on this planet. So he observed that so many things that are done in America are copied all over the world, and it's still going on. It's still going on. I've been going to America for a long time, and many of these things that I saw there gradually came also to Germany. And first they come to Europe, and then they go all over the world. I saw this in South America. First everything goes to Europe, and then it comes also to the third world, like that. So Srila Prabhupada saw this, and he thought, we all know, he thought that if I convince some of the Americans, then they will also follow this. Especially he saw how people were looking from India, they were looking to America and copying things. Just see, for example, jeans. The whole world uses jeans nowadays. These are the shooter pants from America, from Canada. These were the pants that people used to cut wood. How you say wood? How you say Holz? Holzfäller. What is that, Holzfäller? Anyway, so people have cut wood. And this has become the fashion all over the world, even nowadays. And now not only that, now they rip their jeans to go with the trend. Completely mad. And it happened when Prabhupada went to America. In the very beginning, in 71, I think it was 71. Yeah, 71. Prabhupada was making a plan to travel with these Western disciples to India. He had this idea to create the worldwide Sankirtan party, the International Sankirtan party. He was thinking that traveling with a group of Sankirtan devotees. And remember, we were in Hamburg, and Prabhupada was calling Hansaduda, Himavadi, and also some senior devotees from England and from America, like that. And they were all traveling to meet Prabhupada in Mumbai. This is, you can read this in the diary of Shamasundar. What is the title of the Shamasundar's book?
Chasing Rhinos.
Huh?
Chasing Rhinos.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so this was the idea of Srila Prabhupada, to especially convince the Indians. Why? Because actually, India is such an important place. It's such an important place. That's the place where Krishna comes, makes his appearance regularly. once in the day of Brahma, Krishna appears in Vrindavan. And I heard that after Krishna appeared, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appears. So very, very special. Krishna appeared again. The Supreme Personality of God appeared in the land of India, in Mayapur, Navadvip, it was called from former times. And anyway, so it's a very important place. And Prabhupada often said that often explained, that even from the higher planets, the demigods, want to come here to the planet when Krishna appears. And they want to become also some devotees. And just I read yesterday. I read a purport on the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Prabhupada is speaking about Sakama devotos and Akama devotos. Sakama devotos. Sakama devotos means a devotee who has his personal desires, his personal motives, how do you say? The personal desires. Akama devotee means that somebody is completely free from personal, how you say, personal interest. His interest and Krishna's interest is actually one. He's his completely surrendered soul to the Lord of feet of the Lord. Sakama. And Prabhupada explains the demigods, for example, like Sakama devotees. And in one place, Prabhupada even explained that even Brahma. Brahma refers to a soul who is a very elevated, very pure, but at the same time has a tendency to control and create like that. And that's why he's given this position. And other demigods also, they're given these certain positions because of that. Anyway, so coming back to the point, Srila Prabhupada taught us this movement should be spread all over the world. And how can it be spread all over the world? Well, first of all, because of the distribution of literature, and after that, by exemplary behavior of the devotees. The devotees should act properly, should follow. Every day we hear from the nectar of devotion. And what we hear about the principles of devotional service, how to practice devotional service. The 64 qualities of devotional service. Many, many principles. Rupa Goswami explains that 5 of these principles are the most important. And he says that these principles, even following one of these principles, they're so powerful, these principles, and they cleanse the heart. They reawaken our affection, our love for Krishna within the heart. And the first principle is sadhu sang. Sadhu sang, the association with sadhus. Titikshava karunika surida ajata shatra vashantim sadhava sadhubhusa. It's mentioned that the qualities of the sadhu. This is actually a verse from Kapila, the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Titikshava, he's very tolerant. Titikshava karunika. Karuna means that he's very compassionate. Well, I'm always saying he. Now in German you have to say he and she. Anyway, so the compassion. Titikshava karunika. Surida sarvadehina. Surida sarvade. Surida means friend. Sarvadehinam. Sarva means all. Dehinam means entity, living entities. Friend, how do you say? Friend of all living entities. That means he's not just a friend of his own family or something, or his pet dog, but of all living entities, including, sometimes Prabhupada said, even be merciful on the plants. Many years back, Prabhupada mentioned that even the plants, we should learn how to treat them properly. And Prabhupada said, at certain hours of the day, the plants are sleeping, and we should not disturb them. I don't remember the time. Don't ask me. Anyway. Sridham Ajatra Shatra Vashantim. Ajatashatara, Ajatashatru was the name of Yudhishthira Maharaj. That means he had no enemies. There might be maybe some enemies that somebody becomes an enemy of a devotee, but a devotee doesn't consider that person an enemy. At least when if he's really a sadhu. And if he has enemies like that appear, he doesn't, defend himself in the way that we're used to do, but he understands, this is my karma, this is due to previous sinful activities, and he thinks the same thing about his suffering, and undoubtedly we're suffering, especially when we get older. So many conditions, so many suffering, so many diseases, weird things that come up. So normally people say in the material world, materialists always say, this is unjust. How can there be a just God if there's so much injustice? No, but this is actually due to our free will. We have created our fortune and misfortune. Due to our proper own activities. Pratikshava karunika surira jata shatrava shantim. It's peaceful. Very peaceful. Sometimes we see, for example, some very pure devotees visit us. They emanate this peace. That creates the atmosphere changes just by the simple presence of these persons. It's pure devotees. Sadhava sadhubhushan. Sadhava is another very important quality of a sadhu. Sadhava means everything they do and say is based on Shastra. There's no speculation, there's no invention. Everything they say and do is based on Shastra. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. And then it says in the end, Sadhava Sadhubhushan. Sadhubhushan. Bhushana means ornament, Schmuckstück. How do you say Schmuckstück? Anyway, ornament. And all their qualities, the verse said, all their qualities are perfect. Sublime. How do you say sublime? Sublime. All their qualities are sublime. And Bhushana. These are the ornaments of a Vaishnava. Not tattoos, but these qualities, or drinks or whatever, or the way you dress and all that. This is not the real ornament of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is ornamented, I say, with these qualities. Kapila Muni mentions. Anyway, so Prabhupada, how did I get there? Anyway, so Prabhupada was also having these qualities. I have a godbrother, Guru Prasad Maharaj was writing his Vyasa Puja offerings to Srila Prabhupada based on these qualities for some time. Explaining one problem, and next year he offered, his offering on the next quality like that. Very nice. Anyway, so Prabhupada gave us an example, and as long as we maintain Srila Prabhupada in the center, everything is okay. Everything is okay. And as soon as we start speculating, or watering down things, or compromising things, then things get lost. This Shakti, this transcendental energy that Prabhupada gave us, is very, very important. And you get this energy, you get the blessings of spiritual master when you please him by service, following his instructions. That's how Prabhupada became successful. Sometimes when Prabhupada was sitting in the Vyasa Puja ceremony, and the devotees were expressing their gratitude to Srila Prabhupada in so many ways, and glorifying his quality. In the end, Prabhupada would say, actually, this is not due to me, this is all due to my spiritual. He pointed to a picture of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. It's all his blessings. he blessed. That was Prabhupada's reference. It actually was all due to his spiritual master. And I'm sure Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would have said the same thing. No. And the spiritual master, Gokishora Das Bhavati, would have said the same thing. Bhaktivinoda Thakur would have said the same thing. This is our mood. That we adopt an attitude, like in the Shikshastra it says, Trinada Pisunichina Tarudiva Sahishuna, Amanina Manadena Kirtanina Sadahari. That we adopt the attitude of the, how you say, of being the straw in the street. Sometimes Prabhupada said straw and sometimes grass. At one point Prabhupada also mentioned, like the grass, you go over on the street and you, trample down the grass. You know? And the grass will always come back again. Like that. And then it says, more tolerant than a tree. Not just like a tree, but more tolerant than the tree. You know? And the tree is the perfect example, you know, for tolerance. Like these trees here in front of the house. Now it's becoming spring. Now the trees are waking up again. Their external consciousness become manifest. I heard that in the winter season when it's really cold, you know, the consciousness goes in the center. And then when the tree is again, spring is coming, then the trees, like there's a tree here in the yard. The first thing it manifests are flowers. That reminds me also of what's one feigen in English? What is that? Figs, figs. In the hotter countries where the figs are growing, normally it's a little hotter than here. The first thing, like for example in South America, before the fig, the leaves are coming out, there are flowers. And then from these flowers come the first figs. And those are the best figs. Then after a while the leaves come and again the flowers come. But the first ones are the best. Anyway, so I don't want to extend it unnecessarily. Maybe there's some questions or comments.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If Mataji says nothing, then I have a question. So if you don't comment, then I ask if you allow or
I allow.
What is this? Du musst es erlauben? What is it?
the question, you are speaking very much about Brahmanical qualities.
The when?
You are speaking very often, very much about Brahmanical qualities.
Yes.
Yeah. How to be an exemplary devotee. Yes. Because we are presenting Srila Prabhupada, so how I understand it in the street, and that's why it's very responsible. My question is,
just like you should be, like, excuse me for interrupting, you should be a representative.
No, I'm not.
And when people take interest, and you should give them the invitation to the temple.
I'm doing already this for all these years.
Yeah, I know, but anyway, I just wanted to repeat that.
They are coming and go. They
Huh?
are coming and go and going, coming and going. But it's not my question.
Okay, yeah, but I just wanted to mention this.
The qualities should be permanent qualities, or because sometimes the qualities are being manifested because of different.
Of what?
Different things.
Huh.
Yes, different influences, and sometimes these qualities, they have been already manifested, they disappear. How you can comment it?
Yeah, because everything in the material is fluctuant, and as long as you're not properly based, and your swadharma, your position that corresponds to your guna karma, then there's so much disturbance. It's the same in devotional service. We start as kanishta adhikaris, or I say, there's another word for kanishta adhikaris, which indicates that we're still having a lot of material qualities. You come to Krishna consciousness, you decorate it with so many material qualities instead of spiritual qualities. Yeah, and but if you keep on taking the association of the devotees, and you become kind of develop some obedience, some kind of respect for devotees, then you advance, and you come to the Madhyama Arika platform. Prabhupada used to say that on the Madhyam platform, your conviction might not be complete. Complete. You might not have so much knowledge, but you are ubicating. You've taken a position of a devotee preacher. You follow the orders of spiritual master. Yeah. And then Uttama Arikai, those devotees are very advanced. And one of the qualities of advanced devotees is that they're very humble. Like we read here, also Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. They were in the next verses. They're expressing their attitude. They feel very, very low. Also, in comparison to Jayane Madhai, they feel even lower than them. They're saying they're very much more fortunate than us, like that. And as you become more and more humble, and you actually, it's not a question of it's not theoretical only, but actually it's realization. You feel so insignificant, and so who am I that I was able to receive the mercy of Srila Prabhupada? Prabhupada was so incredibly compassionate, to have accepted us or me. I was initiated, like I had been in the temple for a week or so. I had long hair, and I was even initiated with long hair. When Prabhupada looked at me in the initiation, I had a friend. We became devotees together, and he had already shaved up and Sikh and everything, and I was still reluctant. I still kept my long hair, but I did some service for Srila Prabhupada. Purushottam, the servant of Prabhupada, asked me to get a tape recorder because his dictaphone was not properly working. So I got it from my father. And then Purushottam said, "You explain it to Srila Prabhupada how it works." And I tried to explain it to Srila Prabhupada. Well, later on I heard he never used it. But when I had this opportunity with Srila Prabhupada, before going out, I said, "Prabhupada, can I be your disciple?" And my disciples know that Prabhupada just make like this. In India, when you say yes, you make like. And a few days later, more or less, I was initiated. And Prabhupada looked at me when he gave me first of all, I gave the beads to Srila Prabhupada, and there was a knot in the beads. And I had trouble to undo this knot. And Prabhupada said, "This is Maya." Anyway, so then Prabhupada looked at me and kind of, looked at the devotees and said, this is a South American gesture. What's happening? Why doesn't he know to shave his head? Something like that. And they all went like, yeah. Anyway, so then we had a Panchatattva picture on the wall. My disciples know this story. Had them 1,000 times or more. So there was a Panchatattva picture on the wall, and Prabhupada pointed to Panchatattva and said, "Either you keep hair like them, like this, and not do anything on it," or you shave. Yeah. And for a long time, I was starting to doubt that Prabhupada actually said that. And then we had in Mayapur we had a meeting of the Prabhupada disciples. That was many years back. They invited all the disciples of Prabhupada to speak about Prabhupada. And they also asked Shivananda to come. Shivananda was the first devotee here in Germany. He had come all alone from America. Anyway, so they asked us also to sit on the Bühne, how you say that? Yeah. And I had to sit with Shivananda. And Shivananda spoke first. And then he mentioned that also. He said, Prabhupada initiated German devotees at that time, and he mentioned either you cut your hair, or you keep it like this, And wow, I got assured. Yeah, actually, Prabhupada said that. And after that, after I repeated that, and that I was actually being the person, Jadvaita Maharaj came to me and said, "This should be recorded. Make sure this is recorded." Anyway, so who are we? We have no right. But actually, we are all mercy. Well, not about you. Many of you, you're very actually qualified. But speaking for myself, I'm most unqualified. So it's pure. I'm a mercy case. I'm a real mercy case. That Prabhupada gave me the opportunity to serve him. Yeah. Anyway. Habe ich deine Frage nicht beantwortet?
Yes.
Yeah?
I have one more question.
What was the question? Can you repeat it?
The first?
Yeah.
It was about the qualities.
The quality of Brahmas, yeah.
Permanent? How to say the qualities stay permanent? Or
Sorry?
to have the qualities, the permanent qualities, because
Oh.
sometimes qualities come and then the same qualities, they are gone also. Yes, what I can say about me.
Yeah, become covered over,
Yeah,
become
it's
contaminated, like we say.
Yeah, it is because of some influences of Maya, certainly, the Kali Yuga.
Yeah, this is your karma. That's where you're coming from. That's why you have this body, that's why you have this mentality. This is all due to your previous activities. And now you should learn how to become very humble and very tolerant and like a tree, like I said. Adapting a position, respectful with devotees, not expecting to be, honored, but honoring and learn how to honor all the devotees. All the devotees. Not just the devotees, actually, devotee starts be very respectful with everybody. Yeah.
You have given this third text from Sri Shastra Triada Pisunichina, and you said that this grass we are stepping on the street, yes? But that is about the fish grass. When grass is dried, how the grass can again
Prabhupada
come up.
mentioned grass and also dry grass, different
Also.
locations. Yeah. I know what the translation in Deutschland is. Huh? Stroh in der Gasse, ne? Stroh in der, ja, nicht das Gras in der Gasse, Stroh in der Gasse. Yeah. Yeah. So we have to situate ourselves in the mode of goodness. Goodness is the perfect platform for devotional service. To start devotion and maintain yourself in devotional service. Like the four principles, like no meat eating, no insensitive sex, no intoxication, or whatever. Huh?
Gambling. No
Yeah.
gambling.
Yeah, no gambling. No. These are actually following these principles means that we establish firmly in the mode of goodness. That's the basis. Like Prabhupada used to say, like the principles are like the legs of the table. I say, yeah, and these legs sustain the platform on the table. This way we have to follow very strictly these principles, and then we can advance in spiritual life. Yeah.
Yes, because of this principle, we all follow these principles. Who doesn't follow the principles? Who is going to casino? Who is smoking? Who is drinking vodka? Nobody of us is doing this. So that means we all should already have been such stable devotees or something like this, if only principles.
So what?
I asked what?
So what?
Principles, yeah, that is the very beginning.
The point is we are, well, maybe not you, but I'm a complete Kanishtarika. I have to be very careful in following all these principles. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I have one more question, Maharaj, if you allow, about mercy. Because that is not to understand, but I'm asking how sometimes devotee says, wow, you have got so much mercy. I didn't get such mercy that you have got, for example. You have got much mercy to go out.
Sorry.
How it is?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe you should try to get more mercy somewhere else.
I should try what?
Actually, you should get mercy from many more sources.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Was denkst du denn dazu? Ja, okay. Srila Prabhupada Ki, Gauda Pramanandi.